So, because my video on the ugly side of life in special forces, is such a popular video, I felt like it was only fair if I did the other side of that, right? Because I don't want to give people the wrong impression that are interested in going into the soft world that the negatives outweigh the positives, because they definitely don't. The positives drastically outweigh the negatives. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Just a quick rundown, I highlight, some of the really tough things about life in SOF and, kind of military in general is, fractured relationships with wives and children, being gone 6 to 9 months out of the year, our bodies being completely broken, mental health being a huge issue for a lot of guys. But with that, and for reference, if you don't know me, I did about 10 years in the Special Forces Regiment and 7.5 years ODA time, right? So a lot of time, a lot of experience. But I wanted to talk about, everybody knows the Hollywood sort of Gucci sort of side of the soft life, right? When it comes to the positives. But there's some definite positives that don't really get talked about, that I don't think people understand unless they've actually done it, right? So I just wanted to talk about some of the best parts about life in Special Forces that's outside of the, the cool guy stuff that you might think. So, number one, by far, the best part about life in Special Forces is the brotherhood. I cannot tell you guys how awesome it is being on an ODA with 11 other like-minded guys. And you're doing just insanely dangerous stuff together, jumping out of planes at 18,000 feet in the middle of the night, flying in on helicopters, hitting targets in the middle of the night in Afghanistan and Iraq and all these different things, right? So you're not just living with these guys, all day for, years at a time. You're doing heinously dangerous stuff together, which builds this insane sort of brotherhood camaraderie that I don't think you can find anywhere else in the world. There's a lot of it in the military in general, but keep in mind on Special Forces, you're in such a small team. You're on a 12-man team that you really grow really, really close relationships that last your entire career. I mean, I still keep in contact with guys that I'm on teams with almost 10 years ago, so I talk to almost all my old teammates and buddies. And as a man, there's something to be said for having so many guys that have your back and love you and all those different things. That's something that I don't think many people really realize comes with being on the soft teams. By far the best part of being a team guy, and I'm sure that transfers to the SEAL teams and the MARSOC teams and Delta and everything else. I'm sure that's the exact same thing. So the next best part, and this one is a little bit more Hollywood, right? But I don't think people truly grasp it, and that is the adrenaline junkie side of the job. Oh my God. Guys, being on a military free fall team, for example, we did things like jumping out in Japan, jumping out over the ocean, from 13,000 feet, full cloud deck, landing on tiny little islands, jumping out of planes at 18,000 feet under oxygen at night, standing on the ramp, getting ready to go. The adrenaline on stuff like that is insane. You cannot replicate that. And then, of course, the absolute ultimate in adrenaline is war. I don't want to glorify war, but there's nothing that's more adrenaline packed than flying in on an MH17 and landing on target with your team and raiding a Taliban village and getting in a huge gunfight. There's nothing in the world that compares to that anywhere. Period. You can't name a single thing that gives a higher adrenaline level than what I just described. And it's addictive, right? I know a lot of guys who became deployment chasers, combat deployment chasers, and it's a drug. It really is, and it's a harder drug to let go of. So I guess that could kind of be a negative, but not really, right? It's an awesome feeling, and there's a lot of different things in the job that give you that level of adrenaline, right? So you're constantly getting that, which, whew, guys, I can't tell you, if you're an adrenaline seeker, you're not going to find any more adrenaline rush than the things I just talked about. And then the third one that nobody really ever talks about, but is, to me, probably one of the best parts of the whole job, and that was its ability to develop you into a leader, right? So, when I was young as an E5, brand new Green Beret, I had no leadership ability. I was hard-headed, hard-nosed. All I cared about was being good at my specific job. And within 2-3 years, I was leading elements on combat operations. And then, within 5, 6, 7 years, I was, senior levels of leadership, main element leaders of entire elements, mentoring young Green Berets, training them, turning them into the next generation of soldier. I can't tell you how much leadership experience you can get on a Special Forces ODA, right? Especially if you have really good leaders above you and mentors like I did, guys who really invest in you and your ability to become a leader yourself. It's a great feeling once you get there, guys, and especially once you start being able to pass that knowledge down and mentoring the next generation. It's more fulfilling than doing the job ever was as an individual. So obviously there's way more than that, guys. Like I said, the downsides, they're there. I've experienced them all: fractured relationships, divorce, bodies chewed up through the grinder, mental health issues, therapy, all that. I dealt with all that. But I just want everybody to understand, with all that, it's the best job in the whole world. My dad was a Green Beret also. He's done all kinds of different stuff at this point, from politics to lawyer and life. And like he says, it was the best job he's ever had too. So keep that in mind, guys. Yes, it's difficult, but it's doable, right? I found a wife and kids that were able to support me and deal with the difficulties of it, which a lot of guys do. But beware of the pitfalls, but also be aware that you're signing up for an amazing life and career if you can get there. All right, so hope that gives the other side of it's not all darkness. There is a lot of sunshine, rainbows to it as well. So all right, guys, hope you enjoyed that video.